Absolutely fantastic, and chapeau, as they say in France, tip of the hat to the people who have taken it over and restored it.
These are the feats of Alexis Goujar, who's on a restoration program in this breakaway by trying to restore the pride of AG2R Le Mondial, who has struggled in the shadow of Thibaut Pinot and the entire Group Arm FDJ team. They have been the star team for the French, and then the star French rider with the yellow jersey, Julien Alaphilippe. There goes Dan Martin in the white colours just through the picture, who said that stage 15 was the toughest stage he's ever ridden in the Tour de France. Big call, might be suffering a little bit from the recency effect, but it was still a really tough stage. Caleb Ewan sitting near the yellow jersey of Julien Alaphilippe. The yellow helmets today being worn by the Movistar team as the leaders of the team's classification competition, in which they have a commanding lead, 30 minutes and 45 seconds ahead of Trek Segafredo.
And just a few days ago, they were some 10 minutes behind. But once we've hit the big mountains, the Pyrenean stages, as we just dodge around a bidon on the road, well, they've taken command yet again, and with Landa, Valverde and Quintana, they're three men whose times count for the team's classification, really taking control of that competition yet again. But on the other side, I'm sure they'll be slightly disappointed in the performance of Nairo Quintana. So much was expected coming into the Tour, and the three-pronged attack of Movistar, but already it's become two-pronged. Just don't discount Alejandro Valverde, but also his history is against him with his performances in the big mountain stages that finish above 2,000 metres altitude. Traditionally, he has struggled and lost time on those, but I still won't count him out.
It's difficult, though, to see a 39-year-old changing that pattern.
It is, yeah, that's the thing. We only get older, and performance inevitably starts to go downhill. But he is such a class rider, the current world champion. And he did a fantastic ride the other day on that really tough stage, the one Dan Martin called the ridden, to come in with Geraint.
8th position overall and only 5 minutes behind, and he's the second oldest rider in the race. He's almost 40 years of age. He's 39. It's incredible.
Just don't count him out. Count him out at your peril.
I think that the best prospect for Movistar to get a spot on the podium beyond the team's classification, which I'm convinced they will win, Mikel Landa is still a threat. He's a long way off. He's in 7th position, 4:54 behind, but he's still a threat for the podium. And number 51, we heard the interview from Julien Alaphilippe, the race leader, but number 51, Thibaut Pinot, the winner of the stage, to the rider that everybody was talking about more than any other on the rest day.
And rightly so. And just looking at him there, sitting with his team, if you notice the cadence he was riding, the high revolution rate that he was pedaling at. So the fact he's even able to do that comfortably shows that he's still relatively fresh in this Tour de France. When you get tired, you tend to just grind a bigger gear over, just roll the legs over more slowly. The fact that he's just tickling away at it with a cadence over 100 revs per minute is a really good sign for Pinot. And yes, a lot of the French journalists are saying he is going to be the man that could win its first Tour de France since the 80s.
34 years they've been waiting. Sprint.
Doing a really long turn, maybe.
It's just the wind-up from Lars back. Rosetto is about to just sneak those points. Is he? No, he's not. He marks the respect of Lars back. I like that.
That was the other thing I was thinking of, maybe in this group, and the really long turn that Lars back was doing. Otherwise, you would have expected to see him swing off. But maybe just a mark of respect, as you said, to one of the elder statesmen of the peloton. You roll through and take this one in what you've said yourself will be your last Tour de France. So I'm happy to see that happen. Here comes the peloton and a wind-up for the sprints that are still on offer.
Colbrelli again looking for points from Bahrain Merida. Sunweb, in fact, also towards the front. Sagan sits and waits patiently in the green jersey.
The lead-out has been let go, one of Colbrelli's teammates from Bahrain Merida. Colbrelli is the man in second wheel. Then it's Sagan, Murku, Viviani.
And is that Caleb Ewan at the back? Just waiting patiently?
No.
Esper de Boost. Viviani, perhaps a chance to test the legs in the sprint. And now the sprint starts. Is Murku in the red colours. Also in the red is Colbrelli. The blue of Viviani. Peter Sagan not wasting energy. Murku will hit the brakes as they get to the line to make sure Viviani gets by him, and he does. An early tester of the legs. So for Viviani, picking up a few points there, that will move him into second position. Colbrelli will still be in second. Viviani will move back over the top of Michael Matthews into third.
Yeah, less difference between the placings when you're sprinting 6th, 7th, 8th as they were. So Viviani will go across in 6th, Murku in 7th, and Colbrelli in 8th. So only a small difference between the two, but that'll just about have them on a tie at the moment, I would think. Maybe 1 point between them. But battling for second, Peter Sagan, just looking back, easing off. I'll take a few points. I've got a massive lead. I'll just track you guys in and save the energy for later on this afternoon. On the other side, Caleb Ewan not getting involved at all. We haven't seen him until now do that either, nor does Groenewegen. There just seems to be really the interest between Colbrelli and Viviani to try and finish second in this green jersey competition behind Peter Sagan. No Michael Matthews. Maybe thinking about the bigger prizes on offer this afternoon in the sprint, but maybe more specifically tomorrow into Gap. If he's not in the breakaway, I wonder what the prospects are of Sunweb mounting a day-long chase on a 200-kilometre stage that is also going to be a very hot day out. But he wouldn't be without a good chance of winning into Gap. We would expect, if it was to come down to a reduced bunch finish, again it would be a Matthews-Sagan duel.
Well, today the report coming from the Sunweb team is that Michael Matthews will be working for Case Bowl in the sprint finish today.
Today, okay. Like we saw him do in Toulouse.
Yes, exactly.
But, although we saw him go for those green jersey points the other day, really not focusing his attention on that and sharing the chances around on a finish today that probably suits Case Bowl a little bit better than Michael Matthews. I think at this point in the tour, it's probably swinging back more to Matthews being the better of the two. More of a pedigree in a Grand Tour after 2 weeks of hard racing, after all the mountains. Case Ball, a very large man, the Dutchman, and sure, he's had a tough time through the mountains, through the Pyrenees. We'll find out this afternoon how fresh or totally fatigued that Case Ball is.
The aim for each rider today to go through 1 water bottle per half an hour?
Yeah, it's got to be in this heat at least 1 bottle per half an hour. And as I said earlier, it's really hard to put that amount of fluid into your body. And most of the riders will find they've still got the balance to make up when they get to the finish. So they may have had up to 10 or 12 litres of fluids today during the stage. Imagine trying to tip that in a 4.5 hour period.
And then they go back to the team bus, they get their urine assessed and they get weighed to measure how dehydrated they are and what amount of fluids they need to get back in the system overnight. It has often been referred to as an eating and a sleeping race, and in amongst the eating is also the consumption of fluids. 38 seconds. They're desperate to try and defy the peloton. Stefan Rosetto in the Cofidis colours swings off. Lucas Wizinovski now goes through to the front. There's been a fall again back in the peloton. And
the Sunweb riders
is down.
That's Ball.
Chad Hager is waiting with him.
That's Case Ball.
Jakob Fuglsang as well from the Astana rider. He's had a tough start to the tour. Case Bowl picks himself up from Sunweb. Astana is the team with the panic bike, number 71. That looks like Bilbao, who's doing the mechanical job at the moment for Jakob Fuglsang. Chad Hager is waiting with Case Bowl.
Well, Bilbao, he's trying to get the bike fixed up while another bike has been carried through by the external mechanic.
It's Magnus Cord, actually, that's trying to do that. Got that wrong. That's Omar Frale, number 73. This has taken a while to get going. Luis Leon Sanchez is there. Lutsenko is there. This looks like it could be collarbone territory. The helmet is coming off. Luis Leon Sanchez is looking really concerned for the condition of Jakob Fuglsang.
I think that was Fraley just indicating they need the race doctor, and there they are. That cabriolet, the white car, that is the race doctor. They've just asked them to stop as they were driving past.
That is a disaster.
The entire team there, the helmet off, the look, that dejected head towards the ground, that is a very bad sign.
The helmet off almost invariably means a race over. That left shoulder doesn't look good at all.
And the shake of the head.
You can see the compassion in Luis Leon Sanchez. This is not about protecting the athlete. This is about protecting a friend. Dmitry Fofanov is the sports director that is there with them. And they're sending the other riders on their way. The expression on the face of Jakob Fuglsang tells the story. Tour over.
That is race. So really unfortunate for the Dane, who was sitting 9th overall at 5 minutes 27 down. Still very much in it for a top 6 place in this tour, but that's a sad sight. And you can see he resigned himself to that really very quickly. Helmet off, looked to the ground, a shake of the head to the teammates.
He didn't start well on stage 1 with a crash. He was on the improve as the race continued, but now one small mistake. It's another reminder of how important it is to stay up the front, and it's a cliche, stay up the front and out of trouble.
But sometimes that's exactly where it happens as well. Sometimes your number's just up. It could have been his mistake, could have been the mistake of the rider in front of him. We don't know. We may hear later on.
Judging by the look of his skin suit, the amount of sort of dust that was on it, it would have been a pretty slippery sort of a corner because of the lack of rain in the region.
These roads are quite slippery, and I know that from racing on them in the past. I know that from riding on them today, going through the final part of the race. But every roundabout on the way into Nîmes, even going slow, you almost hold your breath a little bit and back it off. It's slick. It's dusty. There's a fine layer of dust, and the diesel residue from the cars and trucks. That's just one of those moments. Really unfortunate for Jakob Fuglsang,
who now has officially abandoned the race. Alexis Gujard, Jakob Fuglsang out of the Tour de France. Rossetto, Wisniewski. This is Orsolin, and at the back it is Lars Bak. Also involved in the crash, Robbie, was Cees Bol from Sunweb. Therefore, now what happens? Sunweb, Michael Matthews, does he become the priority, or do they stick with plan A and try and bring Cees Bol, the Dutch sprinter, back to the peloton to go for the sprint?
Well, at this point in the race, it's going to be very difficult for Cees Bol to get back to the peloton. The pace is on. The break is just trying to prolong its life at the front of the race, but they're chasing really hard behind. We saw Tony Martin on, but stacked up behind him with a couple of Soudal Lotto riders as well. They are riding really fast. This is going to be a very, very difficult chase for Cees Bol. He spent quite a lot of time sitting down on the ground, then getting another bike. So he's lost probably at least a minute and a half, up to nearly 2 minutes before he gets going. Even if he does get back, he may no longer have the legs to take part in the sprint.
George Bennett with a musette full of water bottles, delivering them to the teammates. Some ice is also there. That's ice that he's now handing over, of the cold water variety in a stocking. And this is reminiscent of stage 10 when he went back to collect the water bottles, but on that occasion there was a split. Today, no split.
I would expect now that it's Michael Matthews who gets his chance to do the sprint.
It's back out to 11 seconds.
We've seen a number of teams send a solo rider up to the front, but no team commit a train just yet. It's still too far to go. So whoever can't help in the sprint train, there's a crash again.
Off to the right-hand side, Dimension Data.
Christoph was
and
one.
This is Kreuziger. Kreuziger is well placed overall for Dimension Data. Quick bike change. He's in 14th position in the general classification. He needs to get back to the rear of the peloton to maintain his high placing.
I thought the UAE rider might have been Alexander Christoph, the last winner here in Nîmes, yet to be confirmed. Let's hope it's not for him and his team. The man who is likely to do the best in the sprint finish. Under 5 kilometres to go. This is that little section I spoke about. Keep to the left through the roundabout. You get on the other side, you are lost.
Rosetto it is who's at the front. Lars back in second position. Committed, they've been together. Wrong side of the roundabout, but that was deliberate to get out of the way.
Yep, work done for that rider. That looks like one of the Soudal Lotto riders pulling out of the road.
Looked like it might have been Jens Kirkelaar. This is the breakaway, railing it through that corner.
That is that sharp left. 4.5 kilometres to go. Peloton about to swing out of it, and the gap still just opening a tiny bit. Good news for Alexander Christoph. It wasn't him. He is still in the peloton.
I thought it was 1-2-4, Rui Costa, that was involved in that fall. Either way, confirmation. The last winner here, Alexander Christoph, is in with a chance.
The gap back down to 10 seconds now, but they're finding it very difficult to close these last few seconds on the break as they continue to work in unison. This is exactly what they need all the way in.
They may as well be wearing the same jersey in the manner in which they're riding. It's impossible to split the red number for the most combative prize today.
Anyone who chooses to try and do a little bit less, to try and take a rest, call someone in for a turn in front, will ruin the rhythm of the group. They've got absolutely no hope. But at the moment, 11 seconds with 3.5 kilometres to go, and the chase a little bit disjointed behind.
And Bonifacio has just been delivered to the front for Total Direct Energy. They still have Orsolan in this breakaway, but they are setting up for the sprint finish. Yet the breakaway, they're out to 12 seconds.
It's just that holding off. The team's not wanting to start their sprint train too soon. They know when they get to 3 kilometres to go, it's very narrow. A right-hand bend brings them onto the final straight road, very wide. They'll have them in their sights all the way down. I doubt they'll be making a mistake on this one. Is that tight right-hander?
It could be a Jack Bauer moment. Caught within the last 100 metres. Might be a little bit sooner than that. Either way, it's Daniel Oss who's at the front for Bora Hansgrohe. Looking for Peter Sagan, who sits in 4th position. This is Lars back, who's not at the back. He's at the front with a flick of the elbow. Let's go. Let's keep working. They're breathing down their neck now, though. That's no longer 11 seconds. Caleb Bjorn at the end of the train for Soudal Lotto, followed by Edvald Bosenhagen.
Peter Sagan a few positions ahead of him. No sign yet of the lead-out train from De Koning Quickstep, but look for those blue jerseys. They're starting to get formed up. Viviani, he's on Ricchesi. He's wearing white with the light blue bands. Long through the roundabout, a few smart cookies through the inside.
And the yellow colours, Jumbo-Visma, they're led by the rider in red, Janssen, bringing them forward.
Turnison is the man who will deliver Dylan Groenewegen. Small sprint train. Can they take on the likes of De Koning Quickstep, who are waiting? They're just getting grouped together, waiting for their moment to ride to the front.
And from the original breakaway, Orsolan is trying to attack. Rosetto steps out of the way. Groenewegen, he's got support. He sits on the wheel of Mike Turnison. This is Janssen now who's on the front.
Early at the front, 2 kilometres to go. Slight headwind, remember. Nairo Quintana, he is drifting back, but he'll get back in, no problem. Already lost enough time. We don't need to worry about his GC anyway. He's actually off the back.
Well, he's had a problem here, Nairo Quintana, and he's conceding more grounds. Nairo Quintana, he's out of contention to start with. He's in 13th position overall. The race is out in front.
You'll spot the line 250 metres to go. Slight headwind, a little bit from the left-hand side. Marco Haller, he's the man on the front. Turnison, he thinks this is too early. He looks back. Where's Groenewegen? He's got a rider from Lotto Soudal behind him. On Groenewegen's wheel is Caleb Ewan in 4th wheel, but into this headwind it is very easy to get swamped.
And that's what's happening now.
Mercure goes. He's got Ricchesi in the wheel. Viviani, Sagan. They past Groenewegen with Ewan. Groenewegen, he tacks on to Peter Sagan. Christoph next to him, they're battling. Caleb Ewan behind Christoph. Ewan is in 7th position. Goes now. He goes when Richesi starts. Ewan out in the wind. He comes in a little bit, picks up a tiny bit of slipstream. Richesi gives him a bit of a check. He's just too strong. Over the top. Clear victory for Caleb Ewan. What a win. This is the team that made the commitment from the first metre of the race, and this is the man who came and rode the final kilometres before the stage started.
He had to negotiate his way around Richesi, who washed off a little bit of speed, but not much, because Caleb was coming with momentum. Photo for second and third. Viviani Groenewegen. We'd like to see the other angle. Certainly Sagan in fourth.
Caleb Ewan has won this sprint on brute strength. At first, tactically good, following Groenewegen, but they were on the front too early with Teunissen and Janssen. They got swamped from behind. He has ignited the jetpack. Track him on the left-hand side, 64k an hour, and this is into a slight headwind.
A lot of that
67,
sprint.
getting down, getting aero. Groenewegen, he's coming. It's too late. It's already been won. Second for Viviani, third for Groenewegen, but that is a win by a length.
And Bonifacio in fifth, mind you, so their first top 10 finish, and you said he'd be finishing fifth. Well played. For Caleb Ewan, he had Roger Kluger getting there earlier. Jesper de Boos did part of the last lead-out, but it wasn't a classic-style lead-out. A lot of that last 500 metres, in fact, all of the last 500 metres was on instinct. He's a natural-born sprinter.
It is. He was just searching for the line and knows his way to go and get it. But you've got to have the legs. He had huge motivation. He hasn't switched off after that first stage win. He liked the taste, and he's back for the second course.
He can get through the mountains. He'd love to win in Paris. Who wouldn't?
That's the next goal, of course. So, over the hundreds of years...
Another stage,
listen in.
Clearly you enjoy rest days. She won after a rest day in Toulouse. You do it again here.
Yeah, to be honest, I felt so bad today during the day. I think the heat really got to me, and I was actually suffering so much, and I was almost about to tell Max to get off the front because I was really suffering. But I had extra motivation today. My daughter and my wife are here, so I'm so happy I could win for them.
Take us through that final kilometre.
I thought we were too far forward. I had Jasper on the front with Dylan on the wheel with 1 kilometre to go, so we weren't in an ideal situation with 1k to go, but he did such a strong pull. Quickstep came past and I lost a few more positions than I wanted to, but I looked at this finish actually at the start of the day and I played all the scenarios in my head, and one of the scenarios I played was if I was too far back. I think if you watch it, I lay off the wheel and really take a run at it and start sprinting before the rest of the guys, and yeah, it worked.
You've just won 2 stages of the Tour de France, can you believe it?
Not really, I said before that it was a dream to be here, and yeah, I mean, it was such a big dream to win 1 stage, and now I've won 2, so I can't believe it.
Exploring the ancient Roman heritage of the region, the peloton will depart destination Gap. It's 200 kilometres for stage 17 of the Tour de France. Let's now take a look at what confronts the peloton for stage 17. It starts at the Pont de Gare, 200 kilometres, heading through to Gap. Destination eventually after that into the Alps. So this is one of the final chances for a big breakaway. Category 4 climb at the midpoint of the stage, but it's just a gradual drag right from the very start till there. Then a Category 3 climb towards the end before they descend down into Gap for the 25th time in the history of the Tour de France. Sven-Erik Byström at the end there, he referred to one of the great cliches, because it is a truism in cycling, in any sport, endurance sport at least. If you wait until you're hungry or you wait until you're thirsty, it is too late.
Absolutely correct. So sometimes it's a case of the more things change, the more they stay the same. And that old adage is certainly one of those. But it's become so much more scientific in recent years. And things like weighing the riders pre and post stage to gauge their level of dehydration. But there's always the rules of thumb that work. And bear with me on this one, but one of the really easy ones for hydration is when the urine is clear, you're hydrated. And that's just the really easy way to work towards. You can go and weigh yourself and say, oh, you're a 1.2 kilos less than you were at the start, so you need to drink 1.2 litres. You've just got to keep drinking until you need to go to the toilet every 20 minutes to half an hour. You know you're properly hydrated.
And we see so often at the start of the stage, once the breakaway is established, and it might be after only 5 kilometres, particularly on a flat stage in the first week, automatically you see riders stopping by the side of the road to take a nature break. It's so important to be super hydrated at the beginning of the day.
And it's not just water, and it's been really more in the last 25, 28 years, so from in the 90s, that the electrolyte sport drinks really became a thing in sport, and that is also really important. But also get the right mix. You can't completely fill up on electrolyte, and a lot of riders like to take one bidon of each, one electrolyte, one plain water, and then also what you're drinking post-stage as well to replenish the electrolytes and get your body completely back in balance and everything that the muscles need to recover, as we just fly across l'église Saint-Germain in Faucon.
And the actual construction of that church isn't known, but it got a lot of restoration work in the years of 1668 and 1677 throughout that period, where they added the small belfry that you can see at the top of the church as we look at one of the most famous climbs in world cycling, the Mont Ventoux.
And we look at the most difficult piece, the moonscape. You see that line where the vegetation stops and it just turns to the white rocks. The sun reflecting off it on a hot day cooks you. It can be freezing cold up the top on a summer's day as well.
And windy.
And when the wind gets up, it is incredibly difficult. It's not steep towards the top, but you're getting to altitude, and quite often the wind is coming in from the west and blowing a headwind in you all this last part as it funnels its way around the mountain. Haven't had a lot of fun experiences going up the Ventoux.
Amongst some of the most famous images from this climb, one of them dates back to 1987 when it was an individual time trial won by Jean-Francois Bernard, the Frenchman whose son is riding this race, Julien Bernard for Trek Segafredo. Can you imagine riding an individual time trial up Mont Ventoux?
At least it's short. The Ventoux climb is 21 kilometres long. I think back to, I think it was the last time I rode the Ventoux in the Tour de France. It was a 221 kilometre stage. The final 21 was the climb. The first 200 we covered in 4 hours.
You're joking.
No. I'm still scarred.
Absolutely. One of my favourite stages.
It was horrific.
One of the